So, Tulsi Gabbard just released a video that is probably going to get her in a lot of trouble. Let's break it down. So, Tulsi Gabbard released a video in remembrance of 9/11, and it was overall a good video, but she made some serious strategic missteps. Let's take a listen.
It was 18 years ago today that our nation was attacked by Al Qaeda, taking the lives of thousands of our fellow Americans, those who were just going to work, kids who were getting dropped off at daycare, and the brave first responders, heroes who ran into those crumbling towers while everybody else was just trying to get away. We will never forget the great sacrifices made by those who put their lives on the line to save others. And we must always honor the memory of those who were lost on that terrible day. Now, for me, like so many Americans across the country, after that attack, I made the decision to dedicate my life to defending the safety, security, and freedom of the American people, and put on the uniform of our country. Because I was determined to defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. And I'm just as determined now to carry out that mission. But the reality is that our leaders failed us. Instead of focusing one-pointedly on going after Al Qaeda, they embarked on a series of regime change wars that continue to this day, almost 20 years later. Regime change wars are wars of choice, but our war with Al Qaeda is not. None of us want war. We all want peace. But the reality is, unfortunately, it's not possible for us to unilaterally end this war. Al Qaeda and its offshoots and affiliates like ISIS and al-Nusra, they will continue their so-called jihad against our country and the ideals and freedoms enshrined in our Constitution. So either we defeat them and their ideology, or they'll defeat us. But know this, that united, we can never be defeated. So that's my call to action today on all of my fellow Americans, that we must come together and unite in this common spirit of love for our country and for each other, to defend our nation and our freedoms and our future. To me, this is the real way, the true way that we can honor those who were killed on 9/11 and our brave first responders.
So, let me just say that I, for the most part, agree with her. But here's the issue, and this is for Tulsi, by the way. Tulsi, you especially can't word things like that when we're talking about Al Qaeda, terrorists, and things like that. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. Because what you sounded like to a casual observer, to an outsider, to a person who is waiting and willing to use anything you say against you, as you've seen done to you plenty and plenty of times in the past. It sounds like you're saying, oh, I want to continue the war on terror. Now, if the people who know you will be like, I mean, she said over and over again, she wants to end the war on terror. I know what she means by fighting Al Qaeda. She means things like her introduction of the No More Presidential Wars Act. She means her introduction of the Stop Arming Terrorism Act, Stop Financing Terrorism Act. She means stop, the bill she introduced alongside Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders to stop the war in Yemen. I know she means breaking down the institutions that allow terrorism to thrive. I know this. Viewers of the show may know this. People who have interacted with you at town halls may know this. But the casual onlooker, the person who may see this, and this might be the first video they've ever seen of you, or the person who may have been on the fence and were even thinking about backing you, but they saw this, it might have changed their mind, and they think, oh, she's just going to do the same thing that the other politicians have done, which is continue this perpetual war on terror. I understand what you mean, but that's unimportant. If you are the candidate running on the truth, right? Running on ending regime change wars, which is basically the only wars that we have been involved in for the last 100 years. If you are the candidate that is going to call out the intelligence community, then you have to have the understanding that things like what you just said are used to manufacture consent to go to war. So say if you're president, right? If you're president, and I trust you to make the right decision, and a lot of people do. Like if you are being presented with an attempt to manufacture consent, or something that you were said was used against you, I believe that you would be able to see through the nonsense and make the right decision and cooperate and move towards peace, because that's basically been your history. However, here's the problem with that. When you're the president, it's a different type of microscope and it's a different type of propaganda machine. When you're the president, what you just said, right, that could be used against you. Because now all of a sudden, they're going to be terrorist attack after terrorist attack after terrorist attack. Seriously. All of a sudden, and you know what I mean by all of a sudden, just like that tanker was bombed, all of a sudden Iran was bombing tankers the moment that we were trying to start a war with Iran. All of a sudden there will be a bunch of terrorist attacks, and all of a sudden all of them will be Al-Qaeda. All of a sudden the atrocities in Yemen will be highlighted, and it will be revealed that Al-Qaeda is largely to blame for that. All of a sudden, I know your stance on Syria, but once again, all of a sudden, we'll admit how deep Al-Qaeda has run in this battle between the Syrian government and the rebels. We'll admit how much influence they've had. All of a sudden, you'll be put in a corner, and they will use your words against you. And yeah, like I said, I believe that you'll stand up to them. But the propaganda machine will use it. They will turn the people against you using your own words. And all of a sudden, your support will drop as well. And then your mandate will be gone because they will call you a hypocrite. They said, Tulsi is the one who said that Al-Qaeda is such a problem, we have to take them out. They will take your words literal, and they will assume you mean militarily, even though I know, once again, that everything you've introduced and everything you've done has been to dismantle the institutions that have created Al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations. Everything that you've preached about has been to basically dilute the power of the presidency, so that even if you wanted to, you couldn't even do anything by yourself without going through Congress. But we already know how Congress will vote. You will lose your mandate, and that would make it difficult to not only deal with progressive foreign policy, but trying to get progressive policy and legislation taken care of in the House and the Senate, domestically. So I get what you're saying. I've seen the town. I've seen too many speeches. I know what you represent. I know your bills, like in your legislation and your, all that stuff. I know all that stuff. The people who watch this channel know all that stuff. However, you're not marketing to me, nor are you marketing to anybody else. Anybody else who already is firmly in your camp. And we cannot give ammo to those who would take this and only that clip and pretend like you still support the perpetual war on terror. You are known as a peace candidate for a reason, and it's a well-earned title. Calling out the military, like I said, calling out the military intelligence community and all that good stuff, that's important. It really is. And it shows that you understand the root of all these issues. So you, of all people, probably also know how the intelligence community could use what you say and run with it. And how that patriotism that you mean in a genuine way has been used to manufacture consent to go into illegitimate conflicts and to demonize and denigrate different people, Muslims, Africans, et cetera, because they dehumanize them so that we're okay with going over and killing a bunch of innocent people. But remember, I know we're like, what you said is true. We did use the war on terror to initiate a lot of regime change wars. But we also were told that Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan and he's in charge of Al-Qaeda. Therefore, we have to go and kill hundreds of thousands of their civilians just to find Osama in Pakistan instead. Think about it. So this is one of those times where I got to be like, no. We can't do that. It's bad move strategically. I get it. It's an emotional topic for you personally. It's deeply personal for you, but it's not a good look. It's not a good look, and we got to tighten that up. If we're going to tell the truth, we can't, pick and choose when we want to do it. Even on the holidays, even on the days of remembrance, like the Lusitania, for example, when we were told a bunch of civilians got killed, and that's why we had to enter World War I, and we found out after the documents were unclassified, that was a lie. It was a cargo ship full of weapons that we were trying to give to the other people. We were double dealing and looking for a reason to go to war with Germany, which is a whole different discussion. But people will still look at the Lusitania like, oh man, it's so sad. When we lost lives, and then we use that as an excuse, and we use Al-Qaeda as the reason and the target to take more innocent lives than we lost. And that has to always be in the foreground. What are the consequences of our reactionary patriotism, or our patriotic reactionism, whatever you want to call it? And what is that patriotism doing to disincentivize people to question the motives of our government when those situations arise? So I appreciate your words. I'm sure the family appreciates them as well. I'm sure the families and the first responders, because it's the first responders are never really given enough credit in their struggles right now. I'm glad that you spoke to those struggles. But your words, you have to walk a tightrope. You do. This isn't one of those, both the Democrats and Republicans are problematic, because I always agree with that. This is one of those, you have to remember the narratives that we're combating, and remember that the narratives that we are all we are all combating, but you're spearheading that effort right now. Combating those narratives has gotten you where you're at. So we have to be very careful about how we do this and how you go about, your patriotism. Like I didn't have any problem with how you conveyed your patriotism on the Rubin Report. But in situations like this, it could be problematic. So thank you all so much for tuning into that not live stream. It was not live stream, but thank you all for tuning into that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Like, share, comment, and always remember more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.